All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome back to another edition of the Santa Fe New Mexicans Sports Podcast, the top-rated podcast on our humble newspaper. As usual, I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, James Barron. Behind the scenes is Matt Dahlside, show killer. And this week's guest is Andrew Dunn, the president, the founder, the commissioner of the Pecos League, which, of course, has the Santa Fe Fuego. Been a member since 2012. Andrew, welcome aboard. I know you're on an airplane, so we'll have to make this quick today.
Thank you for having me.
Where are you? Where are you flying off to?
KC to Houston.
Okay. All right.
Ooh.
Hey, look, James and I have both been around since he said, oh, we just lost him. they must have. There he is.
There we go.
Yeah, we've both been around since the team was founded in 2012. Actually, 2011 was when you got approved for it. But just talk about the league itself. Like, how'd you come up with the Pecos League? The origin story of Andrew Dunn and your league.
Well, it started off 2011, and was one owner in Cruces. Hold on just a second.
That was great.
Houston. We also opened.
Will?
Yeah.
Let's try this again.
Yeah, we got you.
Ready.
All right, just share the origin. Oh, there you lost me in.
It's cutting me off. I don't know what's going on. I was telling you the story, and then you went away. So, okay.
Go ahead and jump into the origin story of the Pecos League.
Yeah, founded in 2011, 6 teams, and then going to Santa Fe in 12, and it's different level of baseball for those that.
This is one of our better podcasts. We are off to a flying start here. Yeah. We're going to be YouTube famous someday. I tell you. This is going to, we don't edit any of this. We're going to keep all of it. This is exactly what it is.
Will?
Yes, sir.
Here we are.
Cut me off twice.
That's okay. You're flying over the Bermuda Triangle, apparently.
Right.
I didn't know it was in Kansas City.
Yeah. Played the first ever drone game last night. It was recorded with a drone. It's on Facebook. You got to see it.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead there, JB.
No, go ahead.
Service is it's going in. Can you even hear me, Will?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Go ahead, JB.
Okay. Andrew, it's funny. You've gone from, I think initially you had like 4 or 5 teams in the league, and now you're at a point where you're at 16, and you've gone from literally 3 time zones. You're in the Pacific, the Mountain, and Central time zones. Man, how have you been able to pull that off?
3 time zones and 9 states, and a lot of ground covered and a lot of good baseball. Right now, the Fuego are doing a rain dance in Nebraska, though, without But yeah, as far. Hold on, James. She'll stop talking in a second.
All right.
They're going through the pre-flight instructions, apparently.
Wonder what kind of snacks they have on the plane.
Andrew, I want to talk to you about look, you're an independent baseball league, and I know these guys are playing for the love of the game. How much money are these guys actually making a month?
We're not contracting them anymore, so they're making a variety. Some guys are making more, some guys are making less, but as a league, we're not we're not entitled to that information. They get that money through.
Did you get all that?
Not at all. I'm gonna guess he didn't pay for the Wi-Fi either.
Matt, we
All right,
should
one
just
last
go to a
time.
commercial break, and we will bring on Yvonne Incenius after this. Don't cut any of this. We're going to keep all of this, and
We should, yes.
we're going to keep all of it. And really, let's just cut this off. We'll bring on Yvonne Incenius.
Hey, I've got my exterminator guy here. He could fill in for Andrew.
Let's do that too. You know what? How many schnauzers are right outside the door, scratching at the door, so I could bring them in too. We'll go to a commercial break. We'll bring in Yvonne Encinias right after this. Well, that was interesting. We're back from our break in one of the worst/best interviews we've ever done, James, with Andrew Dunn, president of the Pecos League, who wants to do a redo. He wants a redo next week.
Yeah.
So in effect, it puts him in the New Mexican Podcast Hall of Fame, surpassing the Lobo basketball coach who stiffed us, twice, right?
Twice, yeah.
Twice.
I'll give Andrew credit. At least he made an effort.
Yeah, at least it was an effort. It was an effort. Talking to us on an airplane. That was interesting. Well, I don't think we actually got any one answer out of him, did we?
Yeah. There was an attempt at an interview here, so
it was nothing exemplifies the Pecos League quite like that interview, and I hope it breaks the internet. Honestly,
yes.
But look, we're gonna take it up a notch. We've got Yvonne Encinias, the general manager of the Fuego, joining us now, and I don't think she's on an airplane though. I think she's at
no.
So, Yvonne, welcome to our podcast. Hopefully, you can surpass Andrew Dunn in terms of creativity.
I'm going to try. I'm going to try my best.
Yeah, you've been called upon in relief. Let's hope you do a good job.
Yeah. We didn't get to ask him about the wall, about the tarp, about his feelings on Santa Fe, any of that stuff. So we're going to save all the good stuff for you. We're going to do that. All right.
Yeah, you get the tough questions.
I get all the tough questions. Perfect. Thanks, Andrew.
The first question I have for you is, did you lose a bet? Why are you the general manager of the Fuego? What happened there?
I mean, I guess you could say that. Are you wanting a little bit of history, how I got involved? My son played, right? He was signed the first 2 seasons by then manager Bill Moore. So I kind of just stepped on as a mom. I was here, so it was brand new, and I was trying to help in areas where I could. Bill didn't really have a lot of resources, so new to the city and everything. So I just kind of was trying to help him along. And then the general manager that was here the first year, it didn't work out. So Andrew asked me to step into the position when he left. And yeah, the rest is history. Here I am. Lucky me.
Well, if anything else, you are on the Mount Rushmore of baseball in Santa Fe. So there you go.
And probably in the Pecos League too. You have to be one of the longest tenured administrators, executives, however you want to describe yourself in the league there. I mean, you've been there, except aside from the first year, you've pretty much been the face of that franchise.
I'm not sure if there's any that have a longer standing. I'm really not sure. I'd have to look into that. But I am definitely one of those that has stuck around the longest for sure.
Why? That's the next question. Your son came and left. You could have left a long time ago.
I could have done that. I think I was passionate about keeping the team here. I think it's really a good thing for the community. Santa Fe is so rich in its art and culture and history. And I just felt like we needed to have this type of a community event where kids, people could bring their kids and just have a good time at the ballpark. And it's inexpensive. So I just really wanted it to stay here. The Pecos League, it's moved, it moves from different cities, different teams kind of move around if maybe it's not working out in certain cities. And I just didn't want that with the Fuego. I wanted it to stay Santa Fe Fuego where we started. And so that's why I've just kind of worked really hard to continue that.
It's interesting because I think when I talked with you for our opening day story, you kind of alluded to just how much of this has now become kind of a family affair. I think you've got cousins, you've got your son's doing, has taken up, the food empire there that he's trying to create. But I mean, you really have turned that franchise into a family affair as far as what you guys do.
Well, it's kind of like raising a kid. You're like, it takes a village. Well, that's what it's like with Santa Fe Fuego. And I have I kind of feel like it's my baby, so when it comes to my family, they're not going to say no to me. And anytime they know that I can use a little help, they step in without even me asking. So yeah, I have, my sister who's stepped in to help me with, the whole alcohol deal. My son's, Jerome was cooking to help us with that situation. So he helps out there. Plus he was, helping with locks and anything else I need, unloading, loading. My other son, Andres, he's the same. It's like the poor guy, it's like 6'10". I'm like, you need to run. With chips just were delivered to the house. Go pick them up and bring them to a concession. My daughter's been doing scoreboard for, since she was itty bitty. So she's up there. I have a cousin who works doing ticketing on one side. And then of course we have, I had my oldest goddaughter, and she was here just helping my mom. I mean, you name it, the whole family. My dad was here putting banners, unloading, loading. I mean, it's just, it's definitely a family affair. And then I have the Montoya family, who has been a huge part of the team. Elena is our official scorer. Her sister Olivia runs my concession. Her sister Jordan's my social media manager. And then her cousin cooks in the concession. So it's like, there's a lot of family, there's a lot of family here. And then amongst us, we've all become family, right? So, I have Keith and Paco. They're all just like extended family at this point, and we all just have a really good working relationship. So, yeah, it's all family.
It's funny because the season only lasts 2 months, but I would imagine
Yeah.
it's almost a year-round thing for you because you're probably arranging sponsorships and talking to the league and the players and all that stuff. How much time do you invest into this?
Oh, well, it's definitely a year-round thing. We have to start off early and submit our schedule to the city. We have to work on our leasing, our permits, our licensing. We have to be sure we're in compliance with all the city requirements and ordinances, and making sure the field is in a good spot. So I meet regularly with the Parks Division. Any type of upgrades, we're working on that early on to try and figure out game plans. And then after the season, of course, we have to tear down. We have to be sure we leave it in a good way. And then from there, it's like, okay, what can we do better for next year? How are we gonna start all this over again? And then in a blink of an eye, it's like time to start the new season. So it's a lot.
I'll talk to some of the people at the Isotopes because I think the perception is that the Isotopes have control over their player development and who's on their roster. But they don't. It's up to the Rockies. Do you have any say over the roster, or is that all strictly the league? Andrew Dunn, does he handle all that? Like if a guy's not hitting well, you're like, get out of here. Can you dump the player?
I try to respect. I mean, I know in like the major league affiliation and all that, it's the general manager has a key role or the key role in recruiting and things. But with the Pecos League, we leave it more to the field managers, so they do most of their recruiting, and then of course Andrew's involved in that. But I have stepped in on many cases. There's been times where we've been without a manager, and so I've had to actually step in and work on recruiting and things like that. But if I can, not deal with that, then I'm happy to not deal with that. So, but I will step in if there's, if there's any type of issues. And there has been times in the past where I've had to, step in and say, we need to release that guy. It's not a good fit, that type of thing.
I'd like to be in one of those meetings. That'd be a fly
Yeah.
on the wall for that. That'd be great. Hey, watch Yvonne drop the hammer on somebody. Yeah.
I tend to have so I hear I have a reputation, and I think it's just because I want what's best for our city. So I do feel like if it's not working, or if it's a bad fit, even for like our host families, things like that, then I will get involved. And I think I'm known for not, just kind of keeping quiet or stepping aside. I will, get involved where I need to get involved. So I have a little bit of a reputation, I guess.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because I think when I was just doing some research for my opening day story again, I saw an instance where you actually had to let go of a manager mid-season, and you were the one that had to be the heavy on that. And you actually even talked to us about it, which was even more impressive.
I did. We had a situation, and like I said, he was not a good fit. I think he had his motive was more selfish than than for the team or the city. I think he was more interested in getting his playing time in because he was a player manager, and I was constantly dealing with, I had a line of players that were just waiting to shovel out complaints before every game, and it was too much. I thought, this is not working. So yeah, I had to tell him to hit the road. He wasn't the nicest person either, so it just wasn't a good fit.
He didn't like us either. I can tell you that. Yeah. Usually when the first conversation with one of your managers involves him trying to tell us how to do our jobs, it doesn't go well.
No, it never does.
Well, I get it, because you are hard to like, Will.
Oh, wow. There you go. There he's coming in hot again.
No, I'm kidding. I think we've always had a good relationship. I think Will loves to make digs any chance he can, but I've already accepted that about Will.
Yes. Yeah, well, I tell you what, we were ready to drop the hammer on Andrew just to see some stuff, but unfortunately, look, we never had a chance to ask him about the turquoise tower that he was going to build out in right field. What is the turquoise tower status? Do you know?
I actually, as of last opening series, they had done put their calls in to have the lines painted out for, like, the electricity, the gas, water, those things. And this morning I'm here at the field now, and I saw the Daniels construction truck there. So when I spoke with them, they did say they're hoping to have it up by June 6th. The net is here. The poles are ready. It was just really waiting on the 811 markups. So I think once that's all in place, then, they could start getting that.
I think one of my favorite things about Fort Marcy is there's been so many little quirks over the years, like that. I think it was for a year or two, there was like a pterodactyl living underneath the aluminum overhang in the grandstand. This bird was so big, and it would squeak, and it was like, oh my, it looked like a dinosaur up there, although it was a regular bird. But between that and some of the fans that show up on a regular basis, because you do have some pretty regular fans who are actually, they're entertaining. They're watching the fans is almost as fun as watching the game sometimes. Just a lot of quirky things about Fort Marcy that make it a lot of fun. We sit here and poke holes all day about the pitching and the hitting and the play, but really it's you don't go out there to watch the team win or lose. You watch just to watch baseball and to enjoy the surroundings, which is it's a quirky little ballpark in a beautiful part of town. It'd be nice if your games were under 4.5 hours. That'd be great.
We're getting there. We're getting there. I think so far we haven't had any like record breaking, all nighters.
Opening day, you were done in 3.5 hours. So that's actually pretty fast for you guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast for us. So, don't jinx us, but we're doing okay to try and keep it under, 8 hours.
Yeah, there's been some good ones. Like last year when that the player from North Platte got his teeth knocked out or knocked in. That's we had an ambulance. Well, it's a good thing you're right next to the fire station. They just bring the EMTs right over. They can hop the fence and get there. But
Oh yeah.
a lot
They're
of good
like,
memories at Fort Marcy Ballpark. But what is out of all the time you've been there? You've been there what, over 13 years now? What's your fondest memory? I mean, I know you guys won a league championship. You're watching your son play, but what stands out to you the most?
I mean, obviously it was watching my boy on the mound. Always was my highlight, but um I can't even begin. I do have some time because I can go on with stories about Pecos League and Fuego and just some of the funny things that comes out of some of the players' mouths and the managers. You know, I'm like, it just shocks the heck out of me. But I think, you know, I have to say, Bill Moore, he was always bringing some kind of craziness, and so I miss those days because he was the GOAT. He was just this old grouchy old guy, but he was a great coach. And I remember times where he was like, I need you to go pick up a player, and he's coming in. He's a pitcher. He's coming in the airport. Into the airport at 4. So we're like, all right. So we run and pick up the pitcher, bring him in. It's like 6:30, and we're like, he's here. So he tells the guy, like, put on your jersey, get out there and warm up. The guy goes out, has a horrible outing, like the worst outing. And so the inning ends and he comes out and he's like, well, give me your jersey, go home. And I'm like, oh, so he's just going to just send him right home. And he's like, doesn't got what it takes. Not going to waste my time. Not going to waste my time. Get him home. I'm like, okay. So those were type of things. Or him, walking up with a bucket of baseballs and tossing them at the feet of the official and just trying to rile up his team. Those were great memories. Or us having to go out and give him a Snickers bar because he's like his health. He had some health issues, but you could tell because he'd get like super grumpy. So we're like on the walk, he's like, get Bill a Snickers, please, someone.
It's funny. We have to do the same thing with James Barron too in our newsroom. We know when it's nap time, we got to get James some crackers. We got to do that.
I know. I get a little grumpy.
I was hoping you'd bring up a Bill Moore story because I wasn't at the game where he said they had a fight, a bench clearing brawl, and he claims that he picked up his folding chair and was ready to hit somebody with it like a WWE wrestler or something. Like, Bill, I would have loved to have seen that. How come we skip that game?
He was always doing just funny stuff like that. And then he'd come back and he's like, well, I got to rile up my players. I got to get him in, I got to get him in that fight mindset. And so sometimes I have to make an ass of myself. Sorry. He's like, but it's okay if it does the job, so I think it was all just strategy, I don't think he ever lost his composure. I think it was all just strategic. So
I got to think Bill set a high bar for the rest of the managers that have come through there. They just don't quite compare to Bill.
He did, he was, like I said, he was the GOAT. He had years of experience. He was a great coach. So it definitely is, high bar for managers coming in, but I know a lot of the ones that have come in, they're new. This is Joey's first manager position. He's been an assistant manager for years, but this is his first managerial position. And, that takes a little bit to get into that stride. And, I'm confident he'll pick it up, but there have been, like the one we spoke of earlier, it was like, there's no way that guy could ever be a manager, like maybe for Walmart, but not in the baseball setting. I don't know. But I think Joey will find his stride, and I think he's a good fit. We'll see though. Change all the time in the Pecos League, so there's no telling what 2026 will bring. So it might be a fresh face. We don't know.
Yeah. The road trips have got to be interesting. Have you traveled with the team, and what are those like where you're carpooling from one city to another? It's not like you're traveling to Rio Rancho. I mean, sometimes you're going to Nebraska, Arizona, deep into Texas. What are those like, and have you ever been?
I have never traveled with the team because I do, this is not the Santa Fe Fuego is not my full-time gig. I do have, a real job.
What?
But I have not traveled with the team. I do hear, it's hard because they usually, travel, like they went to Trinidad, had a doubleheader, and then they had to hit the road and head to Nebraska. And then, it's just carpooling. Everybody's, 4 to 5 players in a car maybe, and they all just jump in and carpool, head to the next city. I don't know the digs. I've heard, some of the cities, they have, a kind of like a dorm situation where they host those players. They have hotel rooms or maybe a big building where they put, twin size beds, that type of thing. But it's rough. It's rough because it's such a short season. So we're trying to get all these games in this short period of time. So they're like literally leaving at 11 o'clock one night to come back to Santa Fe and then hit the field the next day for the next, home game. So it wears on them for sure. But I guess it's all the love of the game, right?
Yeah.
Visiting teams, when they come to Santa Fe, where do they stay? Do you help arrange their?
Yeah, we actually have a really good. We have Cities of Gold, which is one of our sponsors, and they host our opposing team, which it is a little ways, but it's really not. It's really not far. It's a great partnership. It's hard in Santa Fe because this is our busiest season, so most of our hotels are sold out. They can't afford to save us, 8 rooms for the weekends, especially, right? That's like our busiest time here. So for us to be able to kind of venture out of the city and work with Cities of Gold, it's been a really good partnership.
Yeah. Shoot, I had a thought there and it just totally escaped me.
See, because you're thinking about staying at Cities of Gold Casino now, aren't you?
I definitely was.
We thought they all stayed at Fort Marcy in tents. That's what we thought. It was like, wow.
Yeah, just camp out right there in the in the outfield.
Yeah, no kidding. Eat hot dogs, second day hot dogs from the fire department.
Yeah, actually, I do recall. I do remember now. You were kind of mentioning, the Fuego or not is not your first job. You should probably let our viewers know just what exactly everything that you do. I know we wrote about you last year for I think our 10 who matter, or forget what it is, but 10 who make a difference. And they outlined everything that you do. I mean, can you kind of give our viewers a little insight into how busy your life is?
Well, let's see. I retired from government, and then I moved out to Los Alamos Lab after retirement. Right now, though, I sit on the board of directors for the American Red Cross. I've been volunteering with them for about 23 years, and been on the board of directors for 8. I'm really passionate about that. Let's see. I also, myself and my best friend, a year ago, although we've been doing the things that I'll mention in a second for probably about 15 years in the community, we finally got our nonprofit going. So I actually am a co-founder of the Richard Montoya organization, Be the Blessing. And we host an annual special needs prom for individuals with physical and cognitive disabilities. This year we hosted about 300 individuals at the Scottish Rite Temple. And in addition to that, I think it's probably the largest in the state. We do that all for free and all with help of sponsors and community members. So we get a lot of people that just volunteer their time, and we host a prom boutique where teenagers, not only attendees to our prom, but any teen in the city who may need a prom attire. We get donations of prom attire, and we partnered with the city this year, and we were at the Chavez Center, and we probably gave out, I think our inventory, we did like 800 dresses and suits to teenagers in the city, and they get to take it for free. In addition to that, we host a prom spa in the morning where we have tons of community members that come out and do hair, makeup, and nails for our prom attendees. We also had sports cuts this year that donated like 50 cuts for our male attendees. And then, yeah, we host that event. We also do senior care baskets. So for senior citizens in Santa Fe, we all know that they're all on such a tight budget. And I think part of our organization is to kind of focus on those demographics that maybe fall through the cracks a little bit. And so, our seniors are in such a strict budget. So we do senior care baskets where we give them baskets of toilet paper, just everyday necessities that we all take for granted, but laundry, soap, shampoo, conditioner, shavers, word puzzles, people give blankets, and this is all by people just donating items. And this year we distributed about 500 baskets here in Santa Fe and Rio Rancho. We did a toy drive for children, at-risk children and children within the foster system. So we distributed about 2,500 gifts this year within Santa Fe and Santa Fe County and Rio Rancho. Let's see, we have done like veteran blanket drives, coat drives, things like that. And we kind of partner with the Red Cross and their Service for Armed Forces. And we'll help with our veterans as much as we can. But we're just constantly trying to find a need in Santa Fe and meet it, however we can. We're also going to host this year we're going to have a camp for individuals with disabilities. So we're going to host a Santa Fe Fuego camp that is specifically for individuals with disabilities to come out and hang out with the players and get a little bit instruction and just have fun out here on the ball field. And geez, what else? And then Santa Fe Fuego, right? That's like another thing that just takes up a lot of my time. But yeah, that's kind of sums it up.
The Fuego's like a footnote to all that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought I was busy. I thought
I was
I
gonna
was
say,
busy with
so what do
four
you do in
kids
your
and four
spare
dogs.
time?
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's I got
Well, you
tired
gotta
just
imagine
listening to that.
Yeah. Well, I got to imagine too, just especially with your experience of nonprofits, and especially given the shoestring budget that you have with with the Fuego. I imagine that experience just with nonprofits and having to deal with sponsorships and other businesses to kind of help with that probably goes hand in hand with you.
It does. And I think I really love to barter with businesses here in Santa Fe because I want to be an outlet, for local businesses to come out and promote themselves. And so we have some very very inexpensive options for businesses to come out. But I also, I love to barter. I love it because I figure, how can we both benefit from a situation? And so, if it can help local businesses, then why not? But it does help, being able to do those negotiations.
Yeah,
Hey, you've even gotten the New Mexican involved, so you must be doing something right.
I got the New Mexican. I know it's taken several years, but we finally get you guys out here for a Santa Fe New Mexican night, which is always a good time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you didn't show up for that one, Will.
No,
Yeah,
no, I didn't.
I think Will was a no-show.
But it's because like I don't really know a lot of our staff, so if I showed up, it'd be weird for everybody, myself included. So
Yeah,
Well, how are you gonna meet
even
him?
security there would escort you out, Will.
yeah, like who's this guy? When did he start there? Like 15 years ago. Yeah, on top of all that other stuff, you got to deal with the team on a nightly basis. So you're probably at the ballpark till like 11 o'clock most nights too, aren't you? You gotta
Most
be.
nights, yeah, just to make sure that everything is handled. And I like to keep a good relationship with the city of Santa Fe. So I'm a little bit of a control freak in that from that perspective. Maybe I have trust issues, whatever. But I just try to stick around.
That's
and
another
make sure
podcast altogether, Ivonne.
that's another one altogether. But I just kind of like to stick around and make sure that, everything is left orderly and everything's locked up and, lights are out, things like that, just to make sure we're in compliance with everything.
Yeah, definitely get those lights off because we know how upset the neighbors get when you do leave them on past 11
Yeah.
or even 10.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the early days when your games were at 7 o'clock and they threatened to turn the lights off at like 10:30, whatever it was. Like
it was like middle of seventh inning, like the lights are coming off. What?
It's the evolution of Fuego baseball over the years from all that to where it is now.
We had to move it forward a little bit. So but like I said, we're gradually moving. We were actually working this year with the sponsorship with Kingdom Fireworks. They have a stand in Nambe, and they were going to do fireworks shows here because I really felt like it might be a good thing for families to have, but we got shut down. So
by the fire guys, the fire department right next door.
The fire was okay with it because we got everything they needed. Kingdom was all certified and everything in their pyrotechnic, whatever they require. But when it went to city council, it didn't even get past that. When it came to the councilor here in this district, it was like a no-go for sure. So
I figured the homeowners association there would have thrown a huge fit too.
Probably.
They'll say no to fireworks, but they'll listen to pickleball, that thunking sound that pickleballs make all the time.
Have you guys had a situation yet where you've kind of gotten into it a little bit with the pickleball people there? Because they take up a lot of spaces there.
A lot.
Well, I actually reached out to the president because my biggest concern was their cars getting damaged and them not understanding this. The parking area is full on foul ball territory, the entire parking lot, right? So I did get in touch with the president and I sent him our schedule, including our BP, and just so they were aware. And I did make them, I was like, okay, just so you know, it's foul ball territory, park at your own risk, because we're not responsible for that damage. And opening night, there was still like a ton of them. So I went down and peeking through the fence, I'm like, excuse me. FYI, they're like, you're interrupting our game for what? And I'm like, well, I just need to let you know, like, tonight's our opening night, so beware of foul balls. So I did make them aware of it. We did hang some signs and things, but we haven't really had any issues. I think now that they're aware of it, it's been I think they're kind of mindful.
When you and I were talking last week, your window got hit right when you and I were talking. Fortunately, it didn't break, but like, it just happens. Has that ever happened? Have you had your car damaged before? I
have had at least 10 baseball-sized dents on my vehicle. I've had to replace my windshield twice. I still have the brake on it from last season, but I just kind of, the time got away from.
Oh,
she must be
swinging for a landing.
We lost you for a second. We thought you were on the plane with Andrew.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Now we lost the audio. Yeah.
We lost the audio, Yvonne. You're killing us.
Uh-oh.
You got to crank up that hamster wheel, get the audio back.
Okay, testing.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay. Sorry, a call came in and I had to hit ignore it, and then it just threw everything to hell.
Hey, you were much smoother than Andrew ever was, okay?
At least you didn't hold the phone up to your face and try to do podcast that way.
God, and here I am in true Yvonne fashion. What was I saying?
Oh, you're talking about your windshield.
Oh yeah, so I'm like had planned to go and have it replaced, and then it's like January, February, and I was like, you know what, I might as well just leave it because it's probably gonna happen again. So I'll just wait till August of this year and get it replaced. But we do my one new staff member, I saw her yesterday and I was like, she just started. She worked 3 days this time. Shouldn't I have her kind of doing McKaylee, I have her doing pass the hat, things like that, just to kind of help us out. And so I'm like, how did it go? Did you have fun? And she's like, yeah. And then she points at her vehicle, her windshield's just shattered. I was like, oh, where'd you park? She's like, right behind the concession stand. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Where is the place to park to avoid those foul balls?
I would say like down the
closer
line
to the road, right?
Way out by the batting cage, our bullpen, kind of going towards the complex. Either that or opposite of that. And then in addition, there's parking up top where like they burn Zozobra. Those are probably the best areas to avoid.
That's Will's favorite spot.
Yeah, that's I park up top. Just so I can hide from everybody. That's usually where I go.
There's a lot of folks that just hang out there, pull out their chairs and watch the game from there. It's a good spot.
Yeah, that's what I love about Fuego games is you get a mix of every type of Santa Fe possible. I mean, you get people who are just curious and the old timers, new people, families, people who bring their pets, which I think is actually pretty cool. You see a lot of dogs at the games too, which is always fun. But yeah, look, I when they founded this team, I wasn't sure how long it would last. I know it was contingent on beer sales. As soon as the city approved beer sales, it was on. But I did not see this team lasting 13 years. Are you surprised that there's been a sustained level of success for this team that's just kept it going?
I guess I'm a little surprised also because like you, I wasn't, there was those, I wasn't sure. I didn't know much about indie ball. The more I kind of read up on it or learned about it, it was kind of amongst us here. We were like, it's probably going to be maybe 5 years max. If we could pass 5 years, then I think we're good, because from what I heard, it was like, if you can hang for 5 years, you could stick it out. So I was like wanting to get past that 5 year mark. So I'm like, okay, we could do this. We could stick it out. So yeah, it was a surprise, but I think every year it just gets a little better and a little easier. And I think people still enjoy coming here. And, every day we see new faces. There's a lot of regulars that are here that we've gotten to know so well. But there's also always new people, that are like, I've never heard of this. This is so cool. I'm like, yeah, we've been here. And they're like, you just started? I'm like, 2012. Like, what? This has been here this whole time. And I think too, the way that Fort Marcy Ballpark kind of sits, you can't really just see the ballpark in passing. It's not like Regal Park where it's right there as you're driving. You can see it for miles before you run into it. But the way it sits, you really don't know unless
which is one of the beautiful parts about it. It's I think it's quirky. It's like just classic small town ballpark, but man, that right field is just it's a launching pad for home runs. That's what the time I did a story about how there was a group of kids who would just hang out behind the right field fence and get home run balls. And that's all they didn't care about the game. They didn't care about the score. They just wanted to get
the
balls.
Were home runs.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I saw a kid with like three backpacks just loaded with balls. And it's the Pecos League, and I'm like crazy about getting baseballs returned because we are, delivered a delivery of baseballs for the season, and I have to make sure that we, use them, and I'm breaking them up by series and everything else. So I'm like constantly like, don't forget to remind him. I'm telling Keith, poor guy, I'm like, remind him about foul balls. But this one kid has like 3 backpacks full, and I'm like, hey man, don't you want to return those baseballs? He's all, nah, I'm gonna keep them. Like, are you sure you don't want to do it? He's like, nah.
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. I would keep them.
Those are souvenirs. They'll be priceless here in
like,
about 20, 30 years.
I'm not related to this kid. I can't beat him up. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm just like, whatever.
But you could put in the work.
How many baseballs do you go through? Because even if you just stand around watching batting practice, they just sail out of there. Like,
oh yeah, I'm like, you guys need to have individuals out there, getting those baseballs. So, and then we have like David. I think he was one of the pictures on the opening night. He comes out before the game and he makes his rounds and he returns like at least 12 baseballs a night. And he loves to do that for us. So that's pretty cool. But God, I think we go through, let's say, at least 4 dozen a game.
Wow. That's a lot.
That is.
Let's say you're talking 10 or 12 bucks a ball at least. It's a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like that crazy one that's like, remind him again about foul balls. Bring him back. So we give
What's the return rate on that? How many balls do you usually get back during the game?
We actually have done really good. Mike Ehrenstein, he's our photographer, one of our photographers, and he does great action photos of the players, and they autograph them, and so the kids get to come up and pick their favorite player, and so that seems to be working. We used to do, back in the day at Alto, it was like you go up and get like a gumball or something, or as the years progressed, it was like you get a Metro special, that type of thing. And so we tried like giving out candy, giving, an ice cream, giving hot dog, and it did not work. It did not fly. So when we started doing the pictures, we've gotten a good response to that. So we probably
I'd take a Metro burger. Those things are amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
Man,
That's the only reason I go cover the Little League tournament at Metropolitan. It's like just a chance to get a burger. That's what I do.
the Metro Burger. My mom would send us walking to the park some nights, when she didn't feel like cooking. She'd be like, here, go buy 12 Metro specials.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got to admit, you were much better than Andrew. As bad as
Yes.
Andrew. Although Andrew,
That's not saying a lot.
Yeah.
His train
He's one of
record
those
in
guys that leaves
interview-
a seat tray down the whole time.
just you never know what you're going to get when you talk to Andrew Dunn. Sometimes he'll just go off, but today was an all-time best interview that we did with him. It was so awful that it was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. So
Well, I hope you break the internet.
yeah,
Well, probably not, but we should do we should do all interviews from airplanes from here on out.
yeah.
That's a requirement.
Yeah, when you do FaceTime, make sure you bring it to your actual face when you're to. It would be
Yeah.
great. But
Oh man.
Yvonne, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you saved our bacon after the Andrew Dunn spectacular. It was great.
Yeah.
See, I told you Will she was going to come in big.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support you give us. I appreciate our fans. I appreciate the city, and I'm born and raised, and it's a beautiful city, and I just want to make a good environment here for folks to come, and I always love seeing you guys come out and enjoying a game, and please continue to come and tell your friends.
Well, we have to. Apparently, we're a sponsor now, so I guess we have to go out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not doing our job if somebody doesn't show up.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep tabs now.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it's nice that you do a lot of weekend games, so that makes it good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a quick break and we'll wrap it up after this. All right, that was much better. Ivonne Incinias saved our bacon after the opening segment, which will go down in history as an all-time classic for us. So nothing defines.
We do not do enough airplane
like
interviews.
First 5 minutes of this podcast. So.
Yeah, we do not do enough airplane interviews.
Next time do it driving in the mountains through a tunnel. That'd be great.
Yeah, or while you're getting dental work done. How about that? Even better.
I tell you what, man, we've had some good interviews on this thing, and that's a number one. It's gonna be hard to top that one.
Yeah, that definitely was, I think, our best interview of all time.
Yeah.
The first 6 minutes of this podcast.
I know what this week would have been nice. We talked about our Athletes of the Year package, which came out last weekend, but maybe we can coax one or both of our Athletes of the Year to come join us in the coming week or so. Of course, it was Soren Annan was the male Athlete of the Year from St. Mike's, and then Alexis Pacheco from West Las Vegas. Yeah, just 4-time All-State athlete from West Las Vegas. So.
Oh yeah. Well, 13. Well, it'll be 13. They haven't released the all-state softball and baseball teams yet, but she's a shoo-in for that. So she'll probably have 13 all-state selections by the time she's done here.
Yeah, just every year we pick these kids, and every now and then we'll run into a couple of them that's just got a great story to tell. And I know they're both like that this year. Both very well-spoken young people who are off to the college level. I know Soren is heading off to Colorado State, and Alexis is going where, James?
Lubbock Christian, which is going to be playing softball there.
Yeah, Division II
Lone Star Conference.
Yeah, there you go. The division, very good conference to compete in, so that's good. But we can arrange that at some point next week. But I tell you, it's going to be hard to beat what happened today.
Yeah, I know. They're going to have to figure out a different way of doing it. Like maybe be at a rave or something.
I was so looking forward to talking to Andrew about beer sales and the nomadic lifestyle and how much I wanted to talk to him about how much they pay these guys, and then he started to answer and he got cut off.
Yeah. Thank you, flight attendant. We need to talk that person a little bit.
We were just getting to the good part. And
I know.
Got cut off. But hey, what are you going to do? Anyway, that'll wrap it up for this week. We're in the throes of summer vacation, so James, you're going to go back to your exterminator. I'm going to go back out in the backyard and continue my my work out there. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you a week from now.
Yes, we'll see you.